This is WAEC June 2019 General Mathematics Paper 2, and we are answering question number 7. And the question says the data shows the marks obtained by student in biology test. These are the marks, raw marks there. So somebody scored 52, another student scored 56, another scored 25, another scored 56, up to the last one that scored 42. So the question asked here, number A, says to construct a frequency distribution table using the class intervals 0 to 9, 10 to 19, 20 to 29. These are just the samples. Then question number B asked to draw a cumulative frequency curve for this distribution. And question number C has two parts. It says use the graph to estimate the Roman 1, the median, and the Roman 2, the percentage of those students who scored at least 66 marks, and that answer should be rounded correct to the nearest whole number. So let's attempt to answer this very question together, starting with the very first question, number A, that we asked to construct the frequency distribution table using the class intervals given here. So in short, this raw data we have to now represent it in a tabular format. So let me just have the table like that. So I have 0 to 9, 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39, up to the last group, which contains 90 to 99. So next you find the respective frequency for each group. That is how many numbers fall in each group. So you start with this 0 to 9. Just check through and cancel any number that fall between 0 and 9. If I start with the first line, I can see 9 here, so I'll strike it. I'll move. Is the only number that happens to be in between 0 and 9. So it's only one number. Then the frequency in that group will now be 1. I'll write 1. So next I'll move to the next group. How many numbers in between 10 and 19? 10 and 19. So anywhere you have that number in between 10 and 19, you strike it. So these are the three numbers only, 18, 15, and 16. These are the three numbers that fall between 10 and 19. So which means the frequency of this very group will now be 3. I'll move to the next group, 20 to 29. So I'll strike all those numbers that happens to be in between 20 and 29. I have 25, I have 20, I have 21. I have 3 of them also, so I'll write the frequency there. So this is what I should be doing after the end. If you do that correctly, you now have frequencies like this. 30 to 39, you have 6 of them. 40 to 49, you have 8 of them. 50 to 59, 12. 60, 69, you have 6. And up to the last one, 90 to 99, you have 4 of them. So this is your frequency distribution table. And let me just move to the next page and answer question B and C. So moving to the next page, we are answering question number B, where we asked to draw a cumulative frequency curve for this very distribution. I converted my table into vertical format. I copied those frequencies. There I have it, question A. So to draw cumulative frequency curve, you always have to have a cumulative frequency. Then you have to have the higher boundary. So let me start with the cumulative frequency. This is the very frequency for the very first class interval 1, which will now serve as the cumulative frequency also for the same class. So I'm going to have 1. But the next cumulative frequency, I'm going to add this cumulative frequency plus the current frequency. So 1 plus 3 gives me 4, so it will be the cumulative frequency here. Next cumulative frequency will be 4 plus this 3. That will give our answer 7. So next cumulative frequency 7 plus 6. That will give answer 13. Next 13 plus 8, 21. 21 plus 12 is 33. This is what I did to get up to this 50. So next is to higher boundary. We are plotting the higher boundary on the horizontal axis and the vertical axis, the cumulative frequency. So let's have the higher boundary. The higher boundary, these are the class interval. Just look at the higher number or higher limit. increase it by 0.5, like this 9 add 0.5, it becomes 9.5. So this is the higher boundary here. 19 add 0.5, it becomes 19.5. The higher limit here, 29, add 0.5 to it, so you have 29.5. So you keep doing that up to the end. So you have 39.5, 49.5, up to 99.5. So I'll move to my graph paper. The horizontal axis will now contain these higher boundaries, and the vertical axis will now contain the cumulative frequency, that is from 1 up to this 50. So let me just mark my number, my horizontal axis. I have 9.5, 19.5, up to 99.5. So you can see each 2 centimeter represented 10 units. So each small division here will be 1. The vertical axis, where I have the cumulative frequency, I also draw it and number it. So I have 0 to 50. You can see here in the vertical axis, each 2 centimeter represent 5 units. So each 2 small divisions will now be 1. So next is to plot these points. My cumulative frequency against the higher boundary. So the cumulative frequency 1, then on the horizontal axis 9.5. This is 9.5. Like I have said, on the vertical axis, each 2 small division represent 1. So I'm going to count 2 small divisions here. I will make a small mark here on top of this 9.5. I'm going to have something like this. This is cumulative frequency 1, higher boundary 9.5. So next is cumulative frequency 4, higher boundary 19.5. This is 19.5. Cumulative frequency 4. Just before 5, I'll count 2 small divisions down. That will be the position of 4. I'll make a mark like this. So next, cumulative frequency 7, higher boundary 29.5. This is 29.5 here on the x-axis. Then I'll look for 7. 7 will be 4 small divisions on top of this very 5. That will be the position of 7. So I'm going to make a mark there. Look at it. So next is cumulative frequency 13, higher boundary 29.5. I will be marking like that after the end. So when you now mark all the points, next you now do is to join these points using your broomstick. We would like to have a very smooth curve so that answers you are getting from this graph will now be accurate. So using your broomstick or your French curve, you can join all the points by a smooth curve. The curve is going to be like this. Look at it. This is the curve that we are going to have if you join it correctly. So we have answered question number B. What remains is question number C, that we asked to use our graph to estimate number 1, the median. So starting with the median, remember median is just the marker obtained by the student that situated exactly at the middle. I have up to 50 students altogether. The last cumulative frequency gives you the total. So you have 50 students altogether. So, and these 50 students are now arranged. So they are arranged from the one with the least mark up to the one with the highest mark in order. So the very student that will be in the middle position, his mark will now be the median. And the middle position, if they are 50, will now be 25. So what I'll now do, this gives me the positions, while this gives me the mark. So what I'm going to do is to draw a line from this 25, that is the middle position. When it touches my curve, I'll go down to the marker. So the mark here is what I'm going to estimate is now going to be the marker obtained or scored by that student at the middle position. And this mark, if I estimated it correctly, this is 49.5, this is 59. This is going to be somewhere around 53. So the median mark is now going to be 53. That answered Roman 1. Roman 2, we asked to find the percentage of those students who scored at least 66. So it requires to find those students that score less than 66 marks. This cumulative frequency gives the position, while this gives the mark. So you now, what you do, you locate 66 mark on the x-axis. When you locate that 66, you draw a line up. When it touches your curve, you go to the left to the cumulative frequency axis. The number there will give you those students that score less than that 66. So my 66 in the horizontal axis is now going to be somewhere here. I drew, it touches my curve, I'll move to the left to the vertical axis. So the number here would now be the number of those students that score below 66. This is 35, this is 40. So if this is 35, I have 4 small divisions on top of this 35, which means this will be 37. So student that score less than 66 mark will be 37 in number. So to get to those that score above 66, what you simply do from their total, you subtract this 37. So number of students with a greater or equals to 66 marks will now be 50 minus 37. And this subtraction gives result 13. So I have 13 of those students that score at least 66. At least means either 66 or above 66. So there you can now find their percentage. So percentage of those that score at least 66 will now be 13 over total number of students, which is 50. So I have 13 over 50 multiplied by 100%. And this multiplication of division, if done correctly, you now have 26%. So this answered question number 7. So let me just share with you quickly how this very question is now marked during the marking of this paper. So the very first mark is method 1 mark, and this method 1 mark is for forming the cumulative, is for forming the frequency distribution table. That is getting these frequencies from the raw data. You have this method 1 mark. If all the frequencies are correct, if you have this accuracy 2 marks. Next mark is for having a higher boundary. You have this bonus 1 mark. So next mark is this bonus 3 marks, and this bonus 3 marks is for plotting all the points and joining them correctly. You have this bonus 3 marks. If any of those values is plotted wrongly, it is going to be minus half for each wrong plotting. So next mark is answering the median. When you now have your median exactly as 53, you have this accuracy 1 mark. Next marker is attempting to get a number of students that score less than 66 by drawing this line. You have this method 1 mark. So next mark is this method 1 mark, and this method 1 mark is subtracting 37 from 50 in attempting to get those that score 66 and above. You have this method 1 mark. And now substituting in the formula for finding or attempting to find the percentage of those students that score at least 66. That is writing 30 over 50 multiplied by 100%. You have this method 1 mark. And when you now have the percentage as 26 degrees exactly, you have this accuracy 1 mark. And in total, this question number 7 has the 12 good marks.